And I do think Kate and New York can get along because they are both the same. They just say stupid shit, and it could work out for them. But I can see Kate getting on New York's nerves as well. Hello, hello. Well, looks like House of Villains is going to be the next show I'm going to be talking about since it's another competition show out there. We are on season three. I watched the first season. I watched some of the second season. It's such an odd show to me because they cast a lot of personalities that are not from competition shows. And then they'll cast a few people from competition shows. And the show is a competition show. So, of course, those few people that actually know strategy and have done it before usually tend to do the best. But in the process, you kind of lose a lot of the better personalities early, which always makes for a harder television show. So it's a double-edged sword that we will talk about today. Now, I'm only watching this one episode at a time. I know they dropped three at once, but who has the time to really watch three episodes at once? So with this first episode, I think I just want to kind of talk about the cast members a little bit and give my little cast assessment on the first episode. So Tom Sandoval is our first person, who is of course a villain because of his cheating scandal from Vanderpump Rules with Ariana Maddox. But he was also on The Traitors. He was a very entertaining personality on The Traitors. So I think it was probably an easy casting choice to also cast him on another Peacock show like this. He's already in the Peacock universe because of Bravo. So it's good to see Tom again. I've never watched Vanderpump Rules, but he would be someone I would watch the show for because he was very entertaining on The Traitors. And so far, entertaining enough on this show. I feel like on The Traitors, he was someone who thought he had the best strategy ever, even though he was wrong a lot. And I have a feeling it might become similar on this show, even though he wants to team up with a strategist and other strategists. I think that could go poorly for him because he can easily get outplayed, as we saw on The Traitors. But yeah, we'll talk a little more about his alliance here in a second. Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset is next. I know nothing about her and can't say that this episode helped me learn anything about her that I really want to talk about. The next obvious person is always Tiffany New York Pollard. She is like the staple of this show, and she should be. She is reality TV royalty from the VH1 days. The thing with her is, she kind of learns strategy over time. But at the end of the day, I think she is a spiraler and an emotional player when it comes to the actual gameplay, but she'll always be entertaining. So, I mean, I will never hate on her being the staple of this show. Plain Jane from Drag Race is next. I believe they said they were on season 16 of the show. I did not watch up to that. I stopped binging Drag Race somewhere around season 11 when the judging started getting on my nerves and didn't make sense. So I don't know Plain Jane, but the personality so far is good, and Drag Race is very strategic. So I think Plain Jane might be underrated as a strategist coming into this. Obviously, next is Paul from Big Brother. It's honestly great to see Paul on another competition show, which is something I don't know if I would have said, 5 years ago. My thing with Paul on his first season was he was very hard to like at first, but as the season went on, I was rooting for him to win, and then he loses in a vote against Nicole, and he comes back for the very next season, and he definitely was a villain on Big Brother 19, and everyone was rooting for him to lose, and again he gets to Final 2, and again he loses at Final 2. That is Paul's story. I enjoyed his beginning of the show when he was making fun of how everyone yells in confessionals on Big Brother, and I feel like he is already having a good social game with this cast in general. Tiffany called him a low budget Captain Hook and started calling him Captain Hank. But despite people getting digs on Paul, and despite him maybe being one of the first targets, I think Paul is going to be a better strategist than most of these people. So I look forward to seeing what he brings out on the strategy side of this game. Another strategist is a Survivor winner in Tyson. Tyson has mostly entertained me on Survivor. He has good confessionals. Even on this show, he had some good confessionals. I liked him automatically liking Tom on Traders and wanting to work with Tom. It was our first bromance duo of the game. But Tyson in confessional talking about Tom and Tom getting back on TV after his whole cheating scandal, Tyson said, sometimes cheating on your partner can be really good for you professionally. Obviously, Tyson was being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but also being very realistic because it has helped Tom stay on TV, actually. Next up is Jackie Christie from Basketball Wives. I've never seen her, I don't think, so I don't know much about her, similar to the Selling Sunset girl. She had some quips towards the end of the episode, but yeah, I don't know much about her. Ashley from The Challenge is a mixed bag for me. Ashley can be good TV when she is a drunken mess, and just when she's being an antagonist in general. I do think, as far as the women on the cast go, obviously Ashley is one of them that knows strategy. Right now, she's wanting to work with all the guys, and I get it, but I don't see how that's going to work out for her in the end, honestly. I did laugh with her quip about wanting to hook up with Johnny for us, as if she doesn't want to hook up with Johnny for herself. If like she wants to just hook up with Johnny for TV. Right, Ashley, right. Johnny from Love Island is another cast member who is strategic. We've seen him on Love Island Games. I don't like his strategies, though. My problem with Johnny is my problem with other reality shows, is that he rarely likes a big alliance. And that's already what's kind of developing here on this season, which doesn't bode well that I'm going to survive the season. I always say, if I don't like a season, I will stop watching and I will stop commenting on it. I only stuck with the Traders because there was nothing else to talk about. I don't know if I will do the same for this show if it doesn't, if it pisses me off with the big alliance. I don't like big alliances. There is an alliance developing. We already have the Tyson and Tom connection. Then we have Ashley, Paul, and Johnny discussing getting with them to create a 5-person alliance. And then they have the numbers, which is fine for now. But it could get very boring, 3, 4, 5 episodes in if that is still a thing. And I also don't think it actually is great for Ashley's game, but I guess it depends what the competitions are on the show, and sometimes they can be a little random, so it could work out for Ashley. I do think she is probably a better strategist than Tom and even Johnny, but going against Paul and Tyson in the same alliance, I think she could be outmatched there, even though in this first episode Tyson and Paul might have a little rivalry heating up, which we'll get to a little bit. 2 more cast members. Kate from Below Deck, but obviously she was on 2 seasons of The Traders 2, was kind of a star because of The Traders. She is entertaining. She knows Tom because of the Bravo universe, but they don't talk to each other at events. She did almost offend New York at first, asking for New York's name as if she didn't know New York was on the first 2 seasons of this show. Then she took Jackie's bed, and that was some drama there. And then she became roommates with New York. But they seem to be getting along now. And I do think Kate and New York can get along because they are both the same. They just say stupid shit. And it could work out for them, but I can see Kate getting on New York's nerves as well. Meanwhile, I think Kate does a better job of getting along with people despite there being drama, just in general, to, in comparison to a lot of this cast. Drita from Mob Wives was the last person to arrive. She had some drama because there was no beds. New York and Drita have been on a show together before, so they know each other from that. So potential duo there. But yeah, the big thing came when there was a lever. Tyson was the first person to pull it. Tyson became basically the first leader, the super villain. And they ripped off Big Brother and gave him a super villain suite to basically be our head of household. But Tom, who is worried about sharing a bedroom with women because he's in a new relationship and he doesn't want to come off as a cheater, I guess, because he is one. He doesn't want to sleep with women, so he convinced Tyson to not take the suite and to give it to someone else so that Tom and Tyson can still share a room. Tyson ended up giving the suite to Plain Jane because she has so much stuff and has to get ready in her drag. And Jane said she will take the suite if she's not on the chopping block. And so Tyson made that deal with Plain Jane. But Tyson as leader is... he's doing what he needs to do. There was a competition. They had to split up in teams of 5. Paul ended up on a team with all women, and they lost the challenge because Christine could not cry on cue. So Kate, Jackie, New York, Christine, and Paul were the options for Tyson to choose 3 of them and put them up for possible elimination. Tiffany's worried because last season she had problems with a Survivor player in Richard Hatch. So she's worried that she will have problems with Tyson. But I think so far Tiffany and Tyson seem to be getting along very well. Tyson's idea was to pull Plain Jane and Paul on a little skating reward that he got to choose. And he was kind of buttering Paul up because he needs to put Paul up as a decoy right now so he doesn't put up all 3 women. Paul was the only guy on that team. And Paul seems to be going along with it because Paul is supposedly in that alliance forming with Tyson and Ashley and Tom and Johnny. But at the same time, I don't think Paul loves being put up first. And I think there is a little chess match potentially forming between Paul and Tyson, which I could be here for. And then Plain Jane was on that conversation talk with them, and he reported back to the women. I think Plain Jane is trying to work with the women, and I think he's going to have to be the one to rally up an alliance there, because a lot of the women I don't think are going to think about the strategy. And then if there's already an alliance forming with the gamers, then they're going to be screwed. And it's going to make for boring television the first half of the season, I fear, for me at least. But in the end, Tyson did nominate Paul and then nominated Christine, but we didn't get the 3rd nomination because Christine kept going off on Tyson, trying to read him for filth. And I don't know if she succeeded in doing that. I think she just kept going on and on being pissy, but I don't know, at least edit wise, if she really read Tyson for filth. So maybe there's a little rivalry starting between Christine and Tyson. I don't know. But it was a very entertaining first episode. I think we have an entertaining cast. I think the gameplay could get boring and predictable if there is a big alliance. But gonna keep giving it a chance. I will watch episode 2 sometime this weekend, I hope, and have another update when I do.